I'm Chris Scher, Member Communications Director of the Society of Broadcast Engineers. Welcome to the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. This is a monthly SBE meeting. The SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals, with nearly 4,000 members, mostly in the U.S., but also around the world. Today's SBE WEBxtra focuses on some specific educational efforts of the Society of Broadcast Engineers. We'll cover the upcoming SBE Ennes Workshop at the NAB Show, look at Ennes Workshops in general, and some of the efforts of the Ennes Educational Foundation Trust. We'll talk to SBE Education Committee Chair and SBE Treasurer Geary Morrill. He's the same guy. Before we get into that, though, I have your SBE member update for March 18, 2025. The next SBE certification exam opportunity at chapters is in June. Apply to take an exam then by April 13. You can also arrange to take an SBE certification exam at any time via private proctoring. More information on SBE certification is online at sbe.org/certification. There are several upcoming webinars by SBE on the calendar. How to survive and thrive in the transition from SDI to IP ST2110 and PTP ST2059 streams on March 27th. Carl Kuhn of Sherwood Insights prompts you for the right questions to ask early on to prepare for the challenges faced in the SDI facility transition to IP-based transport. Broadcast Resilience, Proven Disaster Recovery Strategies for Broadcast Facilities streams on April 17th. Paul Stewart of Summit Technology Group discusses the challenges a broadcast facility faces when disaster strikes to ensure continuous operation. And the 2025 SBE RF Safety Course will be presented on May 15th. Stephen Lockwood of Hatfield and Dawson Consulting Engineers leads the course once again. You can always watch all the past webinars by SBE on demand. Go to sbe.org/webinars. Also, SBE dues renewal is underway. Be sure to renew your SBE membership before April 1 so you don't lose any of your member benefits. You should have received a dues renewal reminder in the mail. You can renew online right now at sbe.org/renew. The annual SBE membership drive started March 1st. Recruit a new member and you can earn money off your 2026 SBE dues and also qualify for prizes that will be drawn at the conclusion of the drive. The theme this year is Expand Your Professional Horizon. Get all the details at sbe.org/drive. And the SBE is planning lots of events at the upcoming 2025 NAB Show. In addition to an exhibit booth currently in the North Hall lobby, the SBE will present the annual membership meeting, member reception, and daily booth prize drawings. Get all the details of what we're doing at the NAB Show at sbe.org/NAB Show. And that is your member update for March 18, 2025. So our guest today is Geary Morrill. He's the chair of the SBE Education Committee. He's also the SBE treasurer. Welcome to the SBE WEBxtra, Geary. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate being able to be here and share details about what we've got coming up. I think folks are going to find that to be most valuable.
Excellent. So let's back up. Instead of jumping straight into the program, let's talk a little bit about Ennes in general, Ennes, the man, and what they are. Ennes Workshops, give us a little insight. What are they and how do they work?
Well, primarily what we try to do is take out a if you will, a package program, which will be like 3 or 4 typically presentations that we can do in a given location to support a chapter. We've also taken them out and helped to support some of our associate members now, which we now have 30 out of the 50 state broadcast associations that are now members
yep.
with us. Yeah. So that's there, and primarily what we do is bring out a program that they can use to integrate and educate their engineers in a given geographic area. Sometimes it'll be just a chapter, sometimes it'll be several chapters grouping together, but it's just designed to be able to get our education out into the hands of the working engineers that are our members.
Gotcha. In fact, we have several on the calendar coming up. We have a slide with those dates coming around to local chapters. They're on the screen. I don't necessarily need to read them all aloud. But
Right.
if there's one near you, I hope you'll certainly take advantage of it. You can always get the information. The URL's down there in the corner, sbe.org/Ennes_workshop.
Right.
Gives you all the details on the workshops as well as when they are happening.
And I think it's important to let all of our membership know that you can host an Ennes workshop. We will work with you. Our education director, Kathy Oros, will be happy to give you the details. Matter of fact, there's some information on the website that tells you exactly what we're going to look for support from our sponsoring chapter, and what we will bring to the table. So it's been an ongoing thing that we've done for many years, for as long as I can remember, and I've been a member since '84, so it's been going for a while. Chris,
Yep.
you've got some information about the actual background of how we came to be with the Ennes program, right?
As far as who Ennes is in the first place?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it actually steps back. The first question someone probably asks is, what is an Ennes? And it's
Right.
not really a what is, it's a who is. And yes, it's pronounced Ennis, just like the two letters. And they're named after Harold Ennis. We got a couple of slides about him with lots of information. I won't go into his entire biography. But he was a prolific, actually, it's the Harold Ennis slides, if you don't mind first, Suncast. He was a prolific author. He wrote a lot of books about broadcast technology that long out of print, but are still very valuable, a lot of very evergreen information. And he built quite a reputation for himself. He was also a member of SBE Chapter 25 in Indianapolis. And many years ago, the chapter decided to honor him by creating a scholarship foundation trust in his name that they then turned over to the SBE National Organization to administer. And today, the SBE Educational Foundation Trust still exists. There are 3 trustees, and they maintain the program. Those trustees, we have a slide on them as well, are Doug Garlinger and Tony Peterly and Dale Sherbring, who also serve in that capacity as a volunteer effort. They get together several times during the year, and one of their responsibilities is reviewing requests for funding and approving the amount of scholarships that are awarded each year. I believe currently we're awarding $3,000 scholarships up to, they're in existing categories such as the Battison Scholarship, the Greenberg Scholarship, and so on. You can always make a donation to the Ennes Fund. It is a nonprofit, and you can make it a donation. There it is. Take off your taxes later on in the year. So you do that when you renew your membership, by the way, as well. So that's a little bit about Harold Ennis. I certainly encourage you to learn more about him. And again, lots of information about him is on the website as well.
Yes.
So that's the who Ennis is. And that's sort of where the whole thing came around as far as providing educational opportunities and the Ennes workshops themselves that are for the most part, traveling roadshow, if you will, that goes various places all around the country.
Indeed. And, one of the things I know that a lot of chapters, we have a situation where if you have a minimum number of meetings that you hold throughout the year with your chapter, that there's a rebate that comes back to that chapter to help run their programs. I know of a lot of chapters that take a portion of that and just turn it back to the Ennes Fund to help fund some of the educational opportunities that exist. And one of the other things that the trustees did recently, and we announced this at one of our board meetings recently, they earmarked some funds to help us take education out on the road into areas where we've got chapters, or maybe we've got members without chapters, and they would like to see us be able to do something there. to expand our on-site educational opportunities. So I would encourage, if we've got folks that are viewing this today, or you're viewing it later on, if you've got some members in your area and you don't necessarily have an active chapter that's right there, please reach out to us, because we'd like to take some of this on the road. And they made a pretty substantial commitment to be able to do that on the behalf of some of our members that might not be getting as much as they would, like to be able to, because they don't have an active chapter going there. And we've recently developed a chapter up in the Dakotas that was an area that was underserved for quite a period of time. So that's one of the areas that we'd like to be able to go up to and be able to do some stuff there, as well as we've been talking about doing something up in Canada, which is another area where there's a lot of territory, and just basically one chapter that's across it's across the entire country. So those are some opportunities there that exist.
Absolutely. I had to refresh my memory. I didn't have it right in front of me at the time. I mentioned scholarships. There are 5 scholarships awarded every year. 4 of them are open to anyone going to, well, they're all for somebody pursuing post-secondary school education, so college, etc. 4 of them are open to anyone, and 1 is the youth scholarship, is specifically for graduating high school seniors. So if you're looking at going to study broadcast engineering or a related field and would like to apply for a scholarship, I encourage you to look into that as well. So I think we've covered sort of the basics of who the man was and why it's named for him, and kind of the general overview of the Ennes Foundation Trust. Let's jump into some of the specifics and what we're all looking forward to in a matter of 2 weeks, not even. About 2 weeks, we'll all be heading to Las Vegas. Well, many of us will be heading to Las Vegas for the NAB Show. It's the SBE Ennes Workshop at the NAB Show. So how do you want to start on that, Geary?
Well, I guess basically the first thing to talk about is, what are we looking to do there? These are 2-day sessions where we're able to expand a bit, have a few more presentation sessions, be able to get a little bit more in depth. And there's a couple areas that we've identified that are areas that our membership are telling us they want to be able to grow in. One of them is basically RF. Let's face it, we have a lot of people that are coming into our profession now that don't have, they're not well steeped in RF theory. They may understand studios, they may understand audio processing, but the whole thing about what happens when it leaves the studio and heads out to that big tall thing in the backyard, they get a little bit intimidated by that. So what we've done for those folks is we've developed an RF 101 Bootcamp session. It's a 2-day session, and Jeff Welton of Nautel has graciously agreed to help bring that together. And primarily what we're looking to do is make folks that are looking for more information and more comfort on that side of the fence to be able to understand what the issues are, what the basic tenets are of RF technology. And we can't turn you into an expert in 2 days, but we can make you aware of the areas that you should be becoming familiar with, and perhaps just as importantly, where to get more information on those foundational issues so that you'll be able to function and be a net contributor there on the RF 101 side. So that's one of our 2 tracks, okay? And we can go into that in a little more depth, but the other track that we've got is another one that I would say perhaps some of our more seasoned members might be wanting to have more information on this, because we've shifted considerably over the past decade or 2 into media over IP technology. And if you've been involved with building a studio, if you're doing that kind of a build out, or you've been involved with an ATSC conversion, then you've probably gotten into it up to your ears, because we don't do things the way we used to. I'm an old radio guy from way back, and I remember when we used to punch stuff down on 66 blocks and lots of patch panels. And quite frankly, that's not how we're doing it these days. If you're building a facility, you can build it much quicker. You can build it more economically efficiently using IP technology. And the same thing happens over on the video side of things. So the media over IP session that David Bialik and Fred Willard have put together for us is 2 solid days of information there, including the latest developments in the media over IP technology. RF 101, that technology, it's been established for quite a period of time. We will spend some time on AM and directionals as well as FM and translators. But the stuff over on media over IP, we're still in that conversion to ATSC3. And matter of fact, they're just starting to talk about when to sunset ATSC1. That's up right now for a proposal that the NAB has put out. So that's quite important. And quite frankly, there's a lot more going on in a TV facility these days than just what you may see on your screen. There's a lot of excess capacity that they'll be able to do all kinds of things with, emergency messaging and the like, and all of that will be covered. We've got folks coming in from, once we get into the session a little bit more in depth, we've got some of the folks that are dealing on the cutting edge of what's happening in those areas. So again, on the RF 101 side, we may not be able to equip you in 2 days to be able to go out and design multi-tower AM directionals, but we will be able to help make you familiar with the concepts and what goes on there so that you'll have a working knowledge of what to do.
Absolutely. So, yeah, the 2 tracks are rather complementary in a way. With media over IP, I'd not hate to make broad blanket statements, but somebody who might be on the newer edge of technology doesn't have the RF side under his or her belt. And those of us who have been doing it for a longer time and have the RF experience but aren't as so up to date on the newer trends and the cutting edge stuff, that's where the media over IP side comes in.
Yep.
So they actually work quite well as 2 halves of a balanced equation, I guess. Absolutely.
And it's more the media over IP side is going to be it's going to be applicable to more than just folks that are dealing with a transmission facility, and studio facilities. Folks that are dealing with perhaps industrial media over IP. They may be working for a corporation that has a large production facility. It could be a house of worship. And the stuff that we'll be talking about during that session will be applicable to them as well, the vast majority of it, as well as familiarizing themselves with opportunities to be able to expand their knowledge into broadcast. Because whether a lot of folks realize this or not, I know that probably the folks watching today are familiar with this, but there's a lot of folks that have some of the pieces to the puzzle of how to be a broadcast technician. They may just have a couple areas that they don't understand, or maybe they don't understand that that's an opportunity to be able to expand their horizons. So by exposing them to this information and how it interfaces in the broadcast world, it may open up a whole new opportunity for them. And one thing that we're looking to do all throughout the industry is grow the number of people that help support our industry on a technological side. So,
Absolutely. So we mentioned the moderators. We can give the three of them a little extra kudos. We do have a slide with their smiling faces of the moderators of the workshop panel. As we said, Fred, David, and Jeff. Many thanks to them. They put in a lot of time and effort, pull in all their contacts, beg, borrow, and steal to get presenters to agree to come in and spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it takes in the separate program tracks, programs that they're presenting on, topics they're covering. So they've done a great job. They all three of them worked on it last year as well. And I'd be remiss if I said, if you think the topics look familiar, well, the umbrella topics, yes, but the actual content, no. I know Fred and David both had said that it's 90% new content on the media over IP side.
Yep.
So don't feel like, I've been there, done that, don't need to do it again. Yeah, you do, actually. There's a whole bunch of new stuff. So
well, the whole industry is fast moving on that side of the equation.
Sure.
So you can't drive a stake into something and say, okay, nothing changes and now know everything there is to know. No, that's not going to be the case. You can tell that just by looking at some of the recent webinar sessions that we're rolling out. And a couple that you were describing earlier are talking about transitions, and some of this stuff wasn't even on the agenda 2 years ago, and now we're making transitions. So that's moving fast, and people are looking to keep up. So I have a feeling we'll see a lot of faces that we saw a year ago in that media over IP session, and they'll be there just to get the latest on what's going on. And it does give them the opportunity to interact with all of our presenters as well, because unlike a situation where you're watching a webinar and there it is, and I hope you got what you were coming for to come and see it. Here, the presenters take time and they'll interact, and they're right in the room with us. So if you're in a break session and you had a specific question about something, you'll be able to get the ear of that presenter and be able to ask your questions and get answers. And all of the sessions will be available to the attendees following. All of the presentation slide stacks will be made available to the attendees. So you'll be able to get that information, and it's invaluable to be able to have that contact with some of these folks, because they are the movers and shakers in the industry.
Sure. Are there any, have you looked at the program list by chance and picked out any of your favorites that you might want to spotlight? I realize I'm putting you on the spot a little bit.
No, that's perfectly fine. In looking at the RF 101 area, which I'm real fond of this particular track, because with the folks that I've recruited through my paying job, a lot of times this is the area where they're looking to fill in, because they may have come from a programming background or an operations background, and now the engineering thing is becoming more of an attention for them. My current employer will be bringing several people to this session, specifically so that they can expand their knowledge there and become a net contributor on the RF side. And we'll be talking about things as diverse as talking about where it all begins with Ohm's law, understanding the math, into regulation, proof of performance, troubleshooting, how to build, how you build an existing transmitter site and what all goes into it. So that's all there. There's another session that's going to be coming up that is a joint session for both the media over IP professionals and the RF 101 folks, and that is talking about how you perhaps create your own consulting engineering business. Okay. One of the things that we've learned over time is that there are less engineers that we have today available to fill the positions that we have, and so some folks have decided to go out on their own and become a consulting engineering business, if you will. And one thing that doesn't happen a lot is they may not have a lot of business experience. And there's things to consider there that you may not think about when your entire life has been in the employee quadrant. So
Sure.
we'll help to fill in some of the blanks there. And this is something that folks have asked us to be able to make available. And so we'll be doing that as well. And that will be a panel discussion and questions and answers from the audience. That will be on day 2 of the session. Over on the media over IP side, I can tell you that in day 2, there's quite a bit of information about ATSC3, including an update there from Madeline Noland, who she's the president of ATSC, and so she'll be bringing everybody up to speed on that. I saw a recent presentation she made at one of the state associations, and that is some awesome information. And so that's going to be helpful. And
Yeah, we have the complete rundown of all the program topics on the website. In fact, we have a scroll sample of it. Not that you're going to read it here, but at least get an idea of what's in store as you go ahead. Side note on the contract engineering joint session, it's not necessarily just I work at Station A and I'm going to pick up a few hours at Station B. As you mentioned, with corporate video, houses of worship, etc., you may work at Station A, but now you're going to go do whatever the AV, the video setup at another business. It's not a broadcaster at all down the road. They're hungry
Absolutely.
for people to do that. So the demand is there, and you know that you have the skills, so why not apply them? You just want to have a pair of call letters or a set of call letters underneath it. So
absolutely.
by all means.
And I think a lot of people just want to be able to have that knowledge and be comfortable in understanding that they don't just necessarily have just one income stream. Okay.
Right.
In today's in today's fiscal world, it's good to be able to have several options. You hear about a lot people all the time, especially in some of our younger demographics, talking about having multiple streams of revenue. Well, this is an opportunity for you to be able to do that as well. And some of the stuff they'll be talking about in that session will be, okay, maybe you don't want to go out and be a sole proprietor. Maybe you want to team up with a couple other folks and actually bring together a group. And I think we've seen several examples of that in our industry. If folks have been watching closely, that there are now several different organizations that have developed just in the last 4 or 5 years that are industry professionals that each have areas of expertise that they can bring to bear on behalf of a broadcaster. And a broadcaster may not be able to put a budget together that has somebody in there, week in, week out. But if they've got some kind of an upgrade or building project coming, they need that expertise, and these are the folks that can bring it.
Yep, absolutely. So how do we register? How does one sign up to attend? What do they got to do?
We have links off of our site. If you actually go on to sbe.org, across the top of the page, one of the scrolls that are up there deals with what's going on with the sessions that are going on in NAB, and you're actually going to loop through the NAB's process to be able to register for our workshops, because we are working in conjunction with the NAB there. One of the benefits of that is your registration in an Ennes workshop will, number one, get you a pass to the floor, but number two, if you want it, will also give you a $150 discount towards a full registration, so that you have access to a lot of the other sessions. because what we're doing is taking place on Friday and Saturday, but there's quite a bit going on all through the middle of the following week that you may want to make yourself available to. There's a BEIT conference that's taking place. Some of the folks that you'll see there will be people that you've seen in our sessions as well. They'll probably be dealing with other topics as well. But if you're there to get the full deal and to get your money's worth, well, we'll save you $150 towards a full registration with NAB just by registering for our sessions.
Great. Yeah, and don't. It can be a little confusing at times. You got to, as you start clicking through, you register, you create a login. It's, it's kind of like everything else in the world. You're accessing a portal. So
absolutely.
It might look a little intimidating. It's not that bad. Just keep following the prompts and you'll get to where you need to go.
Absolutely.
I'm going to add something that sounded like too.
I was going to say not only that, but because we're going through them, they also have another division that does rooming. So if you need to get accommodations, it's just a click, and then you're on there, and it'll show you all the options that are available. They've got discounted rates versus if you're just trying to do it straight into a site on your own, and sometimes they're pretty substantial. And so that's a good way to be able to do it and just make it simple for you. And I would recommend going that route if you've never been to Vegas before, because there's a lot of choices. And that's the easiest way I can see, where they just bring them all up and you can look at them and say, that one looks good.
Yep. And we don't compete with the exhibit hall at all. That doesn't open till Sunday. There are a few sessions and things on Saturday. But for the most part, if you're attending the Ennes Workshop, you're not going to miss out on any floor time in the exhibit hall.
Nope.
At all.
Yep.
We didn't mention as well, the Ennes Workshop is going to be in the West Hall. The Central Hall is closed this year. That's the one being remodeled. So the Ennes Workshop's in the West Hall, and the exhibits are in West, North, and South. Lower or upper, I believe it's only one half of the South Hall this year. So it's a little spread out. Use the Vegas Loop. It's a great way to get between those halls, aka the Tesla Tunnel. Look for that.
Oh, and they've expanded that, by the way.
They have. There's a stop at the Westgate Resort now, which is good. But my little tip on the Tesla, the Loop, is there's a station called Riviera Station, which there's no longer a Riviera Hotel, but the Riviera Station is at what I guess you would consider the back end of the West Hall. So depending on where you're going, check to see that might be a closer route than getting off at the West Hall station and then walking over through the front doors and to get onto the floor.
Yep. And Resorts World also has a station. Yep. From what I've been learning, it appears that over the next few years they're going to add a lot more to that loop.
Yep, that's the plan.
Man, that has, I don't know if anybody has ever made the walk from North Hall to West Hall. That's a 20-minute trek, gang.
It is.
And that's if you don't stop and catch your breath.
And at least north to west, well, actually, you can even go south. You can, well, except with Central being closed, you probably can't do it all covered in indoors anymore. But at least from north to west, you can do it covered, and you don't have to cross the street at street level. You can take a bridge, which helps, and at least you can stay fairly comfortable and avoid the Las Vegas heat at the mid time of the day. So that certainly helps, but sure. If nothing else, I just say ride the loop just because it's a fun thing. Just tell them you want to do a circle and they'll be happy to do it.
Absolutely. And of course, we've been on Monday. We've got our, we have our meeting there and a reception afterwards. So if you're coming out, make sure you stick around for that. Mm-hmm. We'll have some opportunities to chat and bring you up to speed on everything that's taken place throughout the society. And there's been a lot taking place.
Yeah, basically the annual membership meeting. That will be Monday afternoon at 5 p.m. Also in the West Hall. We're planning a membership reception at 6 p.m. in the West Hall. Currently, our exhibit booth is in the lobby of the North Hall. I've heard some rumblings that they're maybe trying to move us, even though we've already established a lot of our plans in setting up and getting things delivered in one place. So hopefully we can stay in the North Hall lobby, which is where we were 2 years ago, basically that same area, if you're a regular attendee. So those are the big events for us as well. Stop by the booth every day, at least Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and drop your card off. We do have a daily booth drawing, thanks to our sponsors, for an Amazon gift card. Plenty of other opportunities to win some things at our meetings as well. So what else? Go ahead.
One of the other things that's coming up, and it's a big event that we target to do every year, and that's the leadership development course that we have. I don't have all the details right now, because we're still in final negotiation on this, but I anticipate that we'll have a new venue for this course coming up this year. And for those that are farther west in the U.S., you may find this to be quite attractive. That's about all I can say at this juncture, but that's a good event, and I understand there's a couple pretty good sized broadcast groups that are looking to commit quite a few attendees to that. So I think it's a pretty safe bet that that'll be taking place. We don't have a locked-in date on it yet, but it looks like it'll be sometime in fourth quarter before Thanksgiving. And of course, October is also before Thanksgiving. So there we go.
Very good. So as we all know, you're the chair of the education committee. Anything else, at least we can kind of focus down on the education committee itself. Anything in the works? Anything you want to highlight?
Yeah, we're always looking to grow that and
grow the committee itself. You mean?
No. If they've looked at some of the various educational articles that we put into the into the Signal, you've noticed that I'm always looking to find people that are doing something out of the ordinary, or somebody that's using our program and having success with it, because there's nothing like being able to pick up on what somebody else has been able to do to help you in your situation. We can all help each other. That's one of the benefits of the society. And so, in these conversations, more often than not, I've met people and learned that, well, I've often said this, is that all of us are smarter than any of us. And so the more people that we can be involved and the more input that we can get from folks, the better off we are. A lot of the sessions that people see coming up are there because we've had people that say, hey, could you help us get more information about this or more information about that technology? And so your suggestions are valuable, and we welcome them. You may have heard us say that before, but I'm here to tell you we're serious about it. We want to be able to be of more service to our membership. The folks that join the SBE, I think they look at education and certification as two of the main reasons why they're involved. That there's local chapters and the other things that come to the table, but we want to make this as valuable as we possibly can to you from an educational standpoint. And because we've got time in service and are well known within the industry, we may be able to bring resources to bear and be able to open doors with people that have the latest technology, that have the answers you're looking for, and be able to bring them to you. And then if you're a member plus member, well, you've got access to everything that we've done, everything that's in the can, as I call it, and our live sessions as well that we do, at least a couple a month is what we target. Those are all available to you, to all you can eat at any time for one low price. So that's what we look to do. But some of the things that we're going to be doing, our the subcommittee within our Government Relations Committee, Chet Kyler's committee, has been working on all of these self-inspection guidelines, where the SBE picked up the slack after after the FCC decided not to update them. And I know we had Chet on this session here not that long ago, but just to let everybody know, we're looking to be able to do some information in webinars to be able to help people understand how best to use those, because you and I, we've been using them for years maybe, but a new person has no idea, and it's intimidating when they hear, oh gee, there's FCC inspections and we're going to do a mock FCC inspection, and they get nervous about it because all they've seen in the trades is, oh, they fine people if you don't do those things right. So that's in there, and that information will be there. Whenever we've got new certifications like the one that just recently came out, where we're dealing with folks that are production technologists. Okay, yep. We'll be doing things to help make people aware of that and bring it to the fore as well, and obviously fill in the blanks in that area in areas of technology that apply to that, so that you'll have the knowledge you need to be able to pass that certification exam. We're working very, very closely between education and certification to make that as seamless as possible for you as the end user, so that you'll have satisfaction and success in your career.
Excellent. Well, you touched on a couple of my side notes here about some of the other things we've been working on. So thanks for diving into those.
And it's just we're all interconnected. None of this stuff is in a silo, because right. we all need to, when we work together. I remember when I first became involved at the board level, and I had this idea that became TPT. We had to go around, and it took a while, but we went around to all the different areas that were affected by that and got buy-in and said, how best can we make this work for you? And of course, the real end result was, how best can we make it work for our membership? Sure. And so that's just one of the examples, and I think we're going to do more of those things. We're
TPT,
looking to grow.
For those who don't know, let's explain the initialism, the Technical Professional Training Program. It's basically a one-stop shop to bundle membership, certification, education, etc., as opposed to separate forms for all of the above. Yep. Just a quicker and easier way to get involved.
Yep. And it's just something that developed out of the need to be able to bring somebody up to speed and become familiar with all the various things that, as a society, we can bring to bear to help you make that happen. And I've learned over the past few years that, and we're trying to do everything we can to make it as easy as it is to find the information. But I keep running into situations where I realize that people just don't know what's available to them, and that makes me feel bad. But it also motivates me more to be able to figure out how best to make that obvious, so that people know what they've got available to them.
Sure.
Because there's a lot there, guys.
There is. I think we've covered quite a lot of ground.
I was hoping we would, and I'm feeling like we probably got it done, Chris.
Good. Anything you want to add? I mean, the last 10 minutes have been you adding what you've added, so.
The only thing that I would add is, personally, I'm going to be out there from the day before the Ennes session starts until the morning after everything's over with. So I'm hoping to be able to be at our booth on several different occasions. If you've got ideas and questions, or you just want to pick brains and talk a little bit, I am more than happy to take the time. if you want to give me a heads up ahead of time, please, it's Morrill, GMORRILL at SBE.org. More than happy to chat with you. More than happy to meet in person and be able to see what we can do to help answer the questions and make our resources available to you, because that's what we're about. We don't do this just to be busy. We do this so we can serve our membership.
Sure. And if you're not at the booth, SB staffers are always there. Other board members are there. At least make a note, leave your card. We'll be happy to make sure the right person gets in touch with you and follows through. We take all the ideas seriously. And if even not just education oriented, anything SBE oriented, certainly stop by the booth and tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what you got in mind. We'll be interested in hearing from you.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, hey, Gary, thanks for joining me today. It's good to see you virtually, and I'll see you in person like I said, in about 2 weeks at this point. So
see you soon, Chris.
Very good. Well, again, everybody watching the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web from the Society of Broadcast Engineers, the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. Thanks again, Gary, for joining me today. And if you hold SBE certification, viewing the SBE WEBxtra qualifies you for 1/2 point in Category G, that's attendance, just like attending a local chapter meeting. If you have an idea for a topic or a guest for the SBE WEBxtra, send it to us at webextra@sbe.org, and we'll respond to you as soon as we can. Thanks again for watching. I'm Chris Scherer, SBE Member Communications Director, and I'll see you next month.